I'm Richard Leek. We're in Buffalo, New York, the home of the NFL's Buffalo Bills and nearby Niagara Falls. We're at the Lancaster National Speedway, where it's the best of the beast on the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge, next on ESPN.
The most powerful sport on earth, the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge.
Hi everyone, we are back in Buffalo, New York, and the last time we were here at the Lancaster National Speedway, the defending national champion, Rod Litzow in USA 1, totally dominated the competition. And Armstrong, Litzow is back again tonight, and he still looks hungry.
You know, the word dominate, I don't think covers it. He had this field covered by a quarter of a second. Now, Richard, that is awesome to have this field covered. And you got to remember, this is the same weekend that 1 year ago, USA 1 and Rod Litzow started their move towards the national championship.
But keep in mind, Litzow is currently 4th in the overall national championship point standings. He's still got a long way to go. Now, other trucks here tonight. One truck we didn't see the last time in Buffalo, Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger. He is on the scene. Also, Bigfoot, Carolina Crusher, Awesome Kong, and a whole bunch more.
Everybody's chasing these points. We're halfway through the season. They're staying together. They're a lot smarter. It's definitely going to be a toss-up. Wow, what a show.
Army, normally I give you an opportunity later in the show to make a prediction on who's going to win. Tonight, a little bit tougher. I want to hear the winner now.
Okay, here's the way we're going to do it. If he doesn't have problems and doesn't break, USA 1 starting to move back to that national championship.
And that's the way it always goes. He goes with the obvious choice. We're going to get the action underway in just a moment on ESPN.
Power Tracks and the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge is brought to you by the Heartbeat of America, today's Chevy trucks.
And welcome back to Power Tracks, the nation's only television show devoted to the Monster Truck Championship Points Racing Series. And Army, already tonight in Buffalo, New York, major stories are breaking. The first is about Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger. He is out of the competition.
Well, he showed up one time, made one shot, and Richard, the replay comes on the screen. I want you to notice what happened. Completely cleared. I have never seen a monster truck go over 12 cars at one time. And Dennis Anderson was glad to get out of that truck. It shook him up. We were standing at the end of the track, and he was hustling to get out. It really worried him.
Well, this is a replay from qualifying, which took place about an hour ago. Dennis Anderson with major damage to that truck, Army.
Yeah, he will not be able to make the call. All the damage was in the drivetrain. The engine held together, the transmission. Boy, everything else just went the way of the buffalo.
Well, there you can see a dejected Dennis Anderson, but he's not the only one that had problems. Bob Breen and Wild here in his qualifying effort, he also broke down.
What happened? They sucked something down the injector scoop and it leaned the engine out. Cost Bob about $25,000 right there. Completely lost an engine on that run. A tough break because Bob Breen was starting to make his move, Richard.
So now let's take a look at the trucks remaining and how they're going to pair off in first round of action. We are going to have Bigfoot, Andy Brass taking on the Madman, Mike Wine, the driver of Jersey Outlaw. Awesome Kong, Steve Kane will take on Jammin' John Moore in the No Problem Ford. Then it's going to be the hometown hero, Buffalo Tremor John Kwasniewski against Dave Wysowick and Nightlife. Following that, Carolina Crusher, Gary Porter, your current national points leader, against John Breen and Mad Dog. And USA 1, Rowdy Rod Litzow takes on Bennett Clark and Clydesdale. That's the way they match up, and here's our first race. Andy Brass, Bigfoot, the Ford, is taking on Mike Wine, the Jersey Outlaw. A battle of a couple of Fords to get it started in Buffalo.
Side-by-side racing, first round. Fords go up against each other. Advantage, he's got to go to Brass. He's been playing this game a lot longer than Mike Wine, but Mike Wine knows he can really put a notch in his gun if he can put Bigfoot in the trailer on the first round. Let's see what's going to happen. They're ready to go. They watch the light. Good lead. The starting line was good, but Bigfoot, after making that gear change, really got a whole shot. That's going to bounce him into the next round.
It was no competition. Andy Brass and Bigfoot will advance to the quarterfinals. However, Army, I want to point out, since we've had a couple of trucks break down already, it's possible that some of these fast losers could get to come back later on.
You know, and that's really good racing for the spectators. The reason being, even if you're behind, you're going to go as hard as you can.
And that brings up our next matchup. The Flying Texan Steve Kane and Awesome Kong, the Chevrolet, let's call it the skinny Chevy. And he is going to be facing Jammin' John Moore, the no-problem Ford. It's a fat Ford against a skinny Chevy.
Both of them run supercharged engines. One of the main differences being the Ford engine located in the front, the Chevrolet engine to the rear. And the rear engine combination looks awfully good as John Moore takes a real bad bounce. Awesome Kong takes a win for the Lone Star State.
So the Flying Texan, Steve Kane and Awesome Kong, advances to the quarterfinals. But lo and behold, he's going to face Bigfoot there.
Steve Kane working the right lane. You're going to the next round, but you're going to have Bigfoot. What's going through your mind right now?
Well, I know that he's going to go ahead and take that right lane, so I've already got it in my mind that I got to have that left lane. I feel that I can beat him again in that left lane.
Okay, you beat him last week. It's just a replay of last week, and it was an upset. You're saying you still got what it takes. He made a gear change, but you're saying you can still put him down.
I feel I can.
So Steve Kane, as we look at a replay from last week, is confident. What about Andy Brass? He's made some changes on the Bigfoot truck.
Andy working the right side tonight, but it looks like you're leaving a lot quicker than you were last week.
Yeah, we're leaving a lot quicker tonight. We changed gears in a little bit, went down a little bit, trying to get out of the hole. You know, we was watching some of the tapes we was reviewing, and a lot of the guys was getting us out of the hole. And running Awesome Kong there was a real close race. So we figured tonight, maybe if we can get the guys out of the hole and can get going, then maybe that'd be the edge.
Well, our next first-round matchup has Dave Weishort with his head already hanging out the door, the Nightlife Chevrolet from Nebraska. He's taking on the hometown kid, John Kwasniewski, Buffalo Tremor Chevrolet out of Buffalo, New York.
Kwasniewski, like we said earlier, is involved with his own hometown folks, wants to make a good run. Weishort comes down the left side. Look at this kid out of New York, Richard, working the far side to perfection. He's got to have a grin from ear to ear. He did that at home.
You better believe it, but also the pressure continues on John Kwasniewski as he moves on.
John was a little boy. He used to sit in the grandstands here at Lancaster Speedway and watch his father race. His granddad used to always bring him to the races. Well, it's a whole new ballgame. We're into another generation. A whole lot of pressure has to be off you right now. This crowd is biased you all the way. Hometown folks, you did a great job. What's going through your mind right now?
Well, right now, the next round is going through my mind. I got to figure out who I'm racing and do a little more tuning up on the truck.
The truck looked real smooth coming off that right lane.
Yeah, we did a little adjustment in suspension this afternoon and played with the motor a little bit, and we've got it figured out pretty good right now.
When you were a little boy sitting in the grandstands here, did you ever think that you'd be standing on this side, being on national television?
Well, not really. I thought I'd maybe be drag racing, but not in the monster trucks, but I'm glad I am right now.
We're glad to see John Kwasniewski here also. When we come back after a commercial break, we've still got Carolina Crusher, Mad Dog, USA 1, and Clydesdale straight ahead on Power Tracks. And the Monster Mayhem continues. In Buffalo, New York, it's the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge. We are still in round number 1. As coming to the line next, your current national points leader, Gary Porter, Carolina Crusher, and he's up against a dandy, a real veteran, John Breen, and the Mad Dog Chevrolet out of Missouri.
John Breen is going to have to do one thing. That is, he's got to get a good hole shot. The reason being, John Breen does not run a supercharged engine. The Carolina Crusher has about 500 more horsepower. He'll catch him on the other end. Breen's got one shot that's to do it on the starting line, and he's not going to do it. The Carolina Crusher leads like a rocket. We'll see him again.
I don't know, Army. It looked like Breen pretty well held his own there going up with the first set of junk cars, and then he took some really weird bounces off there, and that's where Porter got the lead on him and took the win. Gary Porter moves on, and we move on with our final first-round matchup. Your defending national champion, he won everything last week. Rowdy Rod Litzow, USA 1, against Bennett Clark and the Clydesdale out of Georgia.
Now, Bennett Clark runs a long truck. We've been talking about quite a few shows the fact that the length of the truck has a tendency to help him, but it's not really helping him as much as he thought. He gives up horsepower trying to get the chassis to work, but horsepower has got him nailed to the wall on the other side, and Litzow just goes down and hammers him.
Rod Litzow gets the win, but Army, I know you're you're down there, he veered off, running straight to you guys over in the pit area. Rod Litzow takes a wild ride into USA 1, but he advances to the quarterfinals.
Rod, you advanced with a 7:06. What did it feel like to you out there?
Well, the last set of cars is throwing you a little bit wild yet, but, you know, as you go through the night, you get a little more used to it. Feel the track. Every night it goes the same, so I hope next race I'm just feeling it to the finals.
When you left on the starting line, when you got to the first set of cars, we could hear you shift. You actually shifted on top of the cars. Is that what you're trying to do, is to get into a higher gear quicker to get the ground speed?
Yeah, actually, like, I'm shifting twice before the first set of cars, and when I'm out, like, on a down approach, hitting in the middle, then I hit my last gear, and I got enough tire speed. That's what straightens the truck out, and then I could go for the last set of cars in my last gear.
Rod Litzow has advanced to the quarterfinals. There's one of our little monster truck fans here with us. Army, you got any diapers with you?
No, but if I took the ride that Gravedigger did earlier, I would be looking for a boxer short sponsorship. We'll get back to that later.
We'll talk to Dennis in a little while. You ever wondered what we did with our junk cars at the end of the night? Well, this isn't it. This is actually a jet dragster by the name of Green Mamba, driven by Doug Rose. And Army, he puts on one kind of show, doesn't he?
Yeah, he runs a company called Fire for Hire, and you can see why right there. He will flat lay down a show for you. Now, Doug Rose has been around a long time and is a tremendous showman, and these people in Lancaster Speedway, they're seeing what Fire will do. Look at this. This is just eerie. He's shaking the ground.
I remember I'm all the way up top side of the grandstands. You could literally feel the heat all the way up at the top of the grandstands.
Yeah, he is Mr. Showman. He's been around a long time. It's a drag vehicle. He does exhibitions such as we're doing here this evening. But the people, what they paid to see, it's coming around right now. They're called monster trucks.
Quarterfinal action about to start. Army, I'm glad you weren't too close to Doug Rose and the jet dragster. It could have seared a little bit of your gray hair there. This is quarterfinal action. It is Bigfoot taking on Awesome Kong. This is kind of a replay of what happened last week in the semifinals. Awesome Kong came out the winner then, but Andy Brass and Bigfoot says, hey, I got a surprise for you, kid.
Well, both drivers pulled into the lanes. They've got their kill boxes. That means they're ready to go to the starting line right now. Remember, last time out, Awesome Kong nailed Bigfoot. Bigfoot's made a gear change. Looks into to make a difference. It's still close. It's still awfully close, Richard.
Well, I don't know. Army, you're right down there. Could you tell at all?
No, they're coming straight at us.
We could not tell. As a matter of fact, the officials are looking at the replay, the videotape camera. Let's see if we can catch a glance of the winner here at the finish line. It's Bigfoot.
Wow, you talk about, last week it was 200ths of a second. They're getting quicker.
Well, we just got word, Army, 600ths of a second, but the win goes to Andy Brass and Bigfoot. Army is going to talk to both of these drivers as they're by the trucks.
Well, Steve Kane, for 2 weeks, come over here, for 2 weeks in New York, you two guys have put on a heck of a show. You got it down to 600ths of a second. Son, you're definitely making a name for yourself in this sport.
Well, racing Bigfoot, he's no slouch, you know. Anytime you get by him, you're doing pretty good. But 600ths of a second, that's enough to lose by.
Well, that's racing, and you're doing a good job. Again, congratulations. A lot of people are starting to watch you, young man.
Thank you.
Andy, what can we say about you? And you guys come back from California, you jump right back in the saddle. You're racing head-to-head with these guys, but, man, they're sure closing in, aren't they?
Yeah, it's getting tough racing, you know, and like last night we was running against Awesome and the rest of them, and they was real close racing. And tonight we changed a little bit of gearing, you know, hoping to get the guys out of the hole, and it looked like it worked for us tonight.
Okay, you're changing the gearing to get the initial start. You got the ground speed. The horsepower's okay on the other end, but you just got to get that lead going quicker for you.
Yeah, we got to get off the line. That's about the only place we can get these guys at.
So there's some Bigfoot fans in the audience here in Buffalo. Can he win it all tonight? We'll find out as we come back with Nightlife against Buffalo Tremor. Jersey Outlaw takes on Carolina Crusher, and it's no problem against USA 1. Power Tracks continues on ESPN. We are watching the Major League of Professional Monster Truck Racing as TNT Motorsports and Renegades is in Buffalo, New York. Army, you need a car to drive home later?
No, I tell you what, these cars are a little worse for wear right now.
We're still in the quarterfinals. Our next race has the Buffalo Tremor. John Kwasniewski going up against Dave Wysork and Nightlife. This is a replay of round one. Dave comes back in nightlife as the third fastest loser.
Well, the Buffalo Tremor's on the inside, hometown boy, trying to put away the nightlife. Let's see what's going to happen. A good lead. He's going after it. Final jump.
Whoa, wait.
Oh, yeah. He's got a little bit of a problem. Nightlife looks okay, but I believe the Tremor, some kind of problem. He drives straight off the end of the track.
Army, I saw Sparks as he went up over that second set of junk cars. Sparks coming out from underneath the Buffalo Tremor. Let's go trackside, find out what happened to the monster truck.
Well, John, there's good news and bad news. You won the race. That's the good news. The bad news, it cost you the whole front drive shaft, it looks like.
Well, I heard some noise when I come off the second set of cars. I wasn't sure what it is, but I found out now.
Do you have another drive shaft to get back in this thing?
No, I don't.
Boy,
We'll run it in two-wheel drive.
okay, I tell you, the tech crew will want to check on that. Congratulations on a job well done in front of your own hometown folks.
Thank you very much.
As we see the end of the replay here, look for the Sparks. He is up over the second set of cars right there.
Yeah, he had a drive shaft. It's strange that should let go while he's in the air. Normally, they'll only brake on impact.
But you heard John Kwasniewski say he's coming back to race, and we're going to keep racing as it pays to lose tonight. Jersey Outlaw, first-round loser, but second fastest loser gets to come back, this time against Gary Porter and Carolina Crusher.
Now, Porter had lane choice. He chose the near lane in the Chevrolet. The Ford having to work the far lane. Chevrolet is going to be there. You will not see the Jersey Outlaw again. His luck just ran out. The Carolina Crusher hammers him in New York.
So Gary Porter gets the win, moves to the semifinals.
Well, Gary Porter's in kind of a unique situation. He keeps running out of what everybody's calling a bad lane. He gives us one reason, but I think what it is you realize you're going to have to run one of these other guys. You know what lane they're going to choose, so you're kind of building a nest on the left side, and it's working for you real good.
Yeah, I'm trying to get the hang of the left lane. Nobody else seems to like it, and I think this next round I'll be put in the left lane because the other truck will have lane choice, and I've been sort of trying to get used to that lane and get it down fast. After I hit the ramp, the truck is launching, to the left, and I'm trying to correct it in the air, so when I land, I'll be straight for the second set of cars.
Now Gary's going to be taking on in the semifinals the winner of this race. Hey, look here, a Ford against a Chevy. That's no problem. John Moore, that's his wife Heidi, videotaping the race. We ought to charge her for that, Army.
No, I tell you what, she's a very important part of the crew, as is his daughter Jill. You talk about a family operation, you don't get any more family operations than a no-problem monster truck.
And John is taking on the defending national champion, Rod Litzow, USA 1. He took the championship here last week.
Litzow will be working the inside lane. Remember, these lane choices are starting to play an important part here. Litzow out right side. Bam! He's looking awfully strong.
The Chevrolet nails the Ford easily. Rod Litzow advances into the semifinals, and look who he is going to be facing. It's going to be Rod Litzow going up against Gary Porter, the Carolina Crusher against the USA 1 in our next round of racing.
Rod Litzow, you're going to be going into the next round against the Carolina Crusher, that being Gary Porter. Now, Porter is not intimidated by that left lane at all. He's been running it all night long. He had lane choice. He still goes into the left lane. You've been kind of using that lane to psych these guys out. It's not going to work anymore. It's going to be back to driver and horsepower. You're going to the right side. I know that by the look in your eyes. What are you going to do to get past this kid?
Well, first thing, you don't really know where I'm going to end up in the next round. And the truck is running good. It's getting out a bad rebound on there, but we're still holding the fastest time. Well, besides Gravedigger had a turn to 6. I don't know what my last time was, but I'm holding the real low 7, so I am running faster than any truck out here. I'm just going to go out there and do my best race I can, but I'm not saying what lane I'll be in yet.
Kind of a little cagey response there by Rod Litzow. It's semi-final time in Buffalo, and Bigfoot, Andy Brass, is going to be facing a very crippled Buffalo Tremor and John Kwasniewski.
Okay, Kwasniewski met with the track crew. He's just going to motor through. The reason being, these monster trucks are dangerous enough with four-wheel drive. As Bigfoot advances into the next round, Andy Brass makes a good run, but this young man showing me he's got a lot of moxie. He's a pretty sharp young man. He knew he couldn't be competitive, but he was safe, and he'll pick up that round money. And we're going to be seeing a whole lot more of this Buffalo Tremor truck.
Not a great race for the Buffalo Tremor as he comes down the home front straightaway, waving to the great fans of Buffalo. We've still got another semifinal match. It's right around the corner. USA 1 takes on Carolina Crusher on Power Tracks.
Power Tracks and the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge is brought to you by TNT Motorsports, the nation's leader in pulling and monster truck racing.
We are doing the MASH the Monster Mash, the Renegades TNT Monster Truck Challenge in Buffalo, New York. Semifinals, Gary Porter, Carolina Crusher, Rod Litzow, USA 1. It's anybody's game in this one.
Richard, look what happened. Litzow comes out. He goes over to a lane he's not been in all week long. He is going to the left lane, pushing a Crusher into the right lane. Both drivers for the first time tonight in a respective lane. Litzow. Boy, he's showing how tough. Whoa, we got a little bit of a problem down here. He's going around on us. And he stops it. Whoa.
He's doing that for the crowd. That's all, Army. A little showmanship there. Rod Litzow pulls a little psychology on Gary Porter, puts him in an unfamiliar lane, and Litzow gets the win, moves to the finals.
Well, we just had an opportunity to see what I feel like was one of the best races, and the reason being both you fellas did some heads-up driving. Gary, you're not going to make it to the next round, but you flat gave him a good run out of a lane you weren't used to.
That's right. I wasn't used to the lane. He sort of played a little head game with me and putting me over there in new ground. And, you know, I think I had a real good run.
Yeah, you definitely laid down a good run. We're going to excuse you. He played a head game with you, but Bigfoot's playing that same game with him. I believe that's why you went over there. You knew when it came final time, if you were going against Foot, he was going to have lane choice. Was that what it was all about, getting out of that left lane at least one run?
Well, basically, yeah. It's part of that reason, and that I knew Gary, he runs real hard, so I had to throw him in an unfamiliar lane, and I ran this lane earlier, took the chance of coming over here because I have to know the lane because I knew Bigfoot had the lane choice on me today.
Gary Porter is a good monster truck, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, he's running hard, so that's why you have to do these little things just to keep on top.
Now look at the end of this race. Rod Litzow, right around for the fans there. I just noticed something also. Rod Litzow's got Paul Newman's eyes. So our championship is coming up in just a moment. One guy that is not going to be in the championship tonight is one of the favorite drivers on the circuit, Gravedigger with Dennis Anderson. He broke down in qualifying tonight. It's been kind of an up and down 1989 for him. Army's got him trackside.
Well, Dennis Anderson's Gravedigger is currently number 3 in the national points chase, but the last couple of weeks have not been the greatest to you. You weren't able to make last week's race. You had some problem getting into New York. This week you come out, you look super. You flew like an airplane, but man, when it hit the ground, a lot of damage looks like it took place.
Yeah, well, Army, what we done is we changed the motor. We put a little bit stronger motor in for the outdoor courses, and the motor felt super good. I didn't really expect to feel that power out of that small, that smaller motor, but anyway, it did, and it launched me over that last set of cars. And when I come down, I busted the transfer case and both of the drive shafts out of it. And all we got to do now is, the transmission's hanging in there. We got a strong motor, and that's all the motor I need. We just get the drive shaft to stay in it now, and then maybe we'll get us another good combination like we had in Chicago.
Well, now let's find out who is the best of the beast. The Ford, Bigfoot, Andy Brass against the Chevrolet, USA 1 and Rod Litzow. It's the championship tonight in Buffalo.
Richard Leek, this is a classic battle. USA 1 Chevrolet going against the Bigfoot Ford. Side by side, Litzow kind of pulling trigger right now. He does it. Whoa, he's going over again.
Litzow has rolled. USA 1 has got the win, but he's rolled over. Rod Litzow is now unbuckled. Steve Wilkie, his crew chief, having it out. Army is down there. Track safety officials are on hand. Guys, try to get us a replay of this. Rod Litzow, here you see at the finish line, bounces with the victory, sharply goes over on the right side of the truck, completely rolls over, but he is okay, and he is trackside right now. Army's got him.
Rod, first of all, are you okay?
Yeah, just a little shook up, the higher speed, it went fast over this time.
Yeah, I seem to be getting a lot quicker now.
Oh, yeah, a lot faster. It was hard to react, and if she went into a slide, the grass is slippery, and I couldn't pull it out of this one, and it just went all of a sudden, it caught an edge.
You're going to be able to follow up on a tour. It looks like a lot of body damage. You've been here before. Can you and Steve get this truck back? You started pulling in on a national points chase. Another setback this year. It's going to make it tougher.
I know. It is going to be a real tough one, but we got to bring it back and just look it over and see. I don't know. It's too hard to tell right now, and hopefully...
Okay, just turned the truck back over. A little bit of a fire broke out. Your crew chief's got everything under control. I'm glad you're okay. A beautiful job of driving.
Thank you. Thank you, Army.
I'll tell you the truth, I don't know how many more of these show-stopping finishes I'm going to be able to take. USA 1 with Rod Litzow has flipped that truck for the 4th time in less than a year. He gets the win. He walks away from that crash. However, the question is now, how long is the truck going to be out of action? If he misses too many races, he's not going to have any chance at all to repeat as the national champion. We'll find out on future shows. For Army Armstrong, I'm Richard Leek. We'll see you again on the tracks across America.